All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a really fascinating kind of experimental tool from Google called Opal. And it's a peek into a totally new way of making software where it all starts with just a conversation. So, let's get into it.
So I want you to imagine something for a second. What if you could build a real, working app without dragging a single box, without writing a single line of code? What if you could just describe what you want? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack today.
And look, this isn't happening in a bubble. There is a massive shift going on in tech right now. You've got these no-code platforms, the tools that let you build things visually, and they're colliding head-on with the insane power of generative AI. And that crash is creating a brand new way to build stuff, where pretty much anyone can be a creator. Okay, so in this first section, let's figure out where Google Opal fits into all this. We're going to get super clear on what it is, and just as importantly, what it isn't, because there's a little confusion out there.
So here it is. Google Opal. This is basically Google's big swing at this new trend. It's an AI app builder, and it comes straight out of Google Labs, which is their playground for wild, futuristic ideas. And that word experimental is super important. We're going to come back to that. Now, real quick, I just want to clear the air. If you go and Google the name Opal, you're going to find a bunch of other stuff. So let's be clear. The Google Opal we're talking about is not an enterprise security company. It's not that screen time app for your phone. It's not a Shopify thing, and it's not some self-hosted tool for developers. We are talking only about Google's AI app builder. Got it? Good. All right, so what makes Opal so special? Well, it's built on a totally new philosophy, a whole new way of thinking that people are starting to call vibe coding. And at its heart, it's all about this. Instead of you having to manually piece everything together, Opal just asks you to describe the end result. You just tell it the vibe you're going for in plain, everyday language.
And this is what we mean by vibe coding. It's a fundamental shift. We're moving away from telling the computer how to do every single little step, which is procedural, and moving towards just telling it what we want at the end. That's declarative intent. It's a completely different way to work with the machine. Let's break it down like this. Traditional no-code tools are all about the how. You're in a visual editor, you're the architect, you're connecting all the pieces. Vibe coding, on the other hand, is all about the what. The conversation is the main tool. You're not the architect anymore. You're more like a director telling the AI what you want the final scene to look like.
But you might be thinking, okay, so it's just magic? Well, no. And this is the really clever part. Opal isn't a black box where you put in a prompt and just hope for the best. It's a glass box. After you describe your vibe, it actually shows you a visual map of the logic it built. It makes everything the AI is thinking totally transparent, and this is key, you can edit it. That gives you all the control and builds a ton of trust.
Okay, that's the big idea, but what does it actually look like to build something? Let's walk through the actual steps of going from a simple sentence to a real shareable app. So it really boils down to 4 simple steps. Let's say we want to build a little tool to repurpose YouTube videos. Step 1, you just describe it. You write a prompt like, take a YouTube link, grab the transcript, summarize it into key points, then write a social media post about it. Step 2, Opal analyzes that and instantly builds that visual workflow for you. Step 3, you refine it. And step 4, you just hit share and get a link. That's it. And that refined step is where you and the AI really collaborate. You can do it in 2 ways. You can keep the conversation going and just type, hey, can you add a banner image? Or you can get hands-on. Click on one of the nodes, like the summarizer, and tweak the specific instructions the AI is using. So you get the ease of conversation and the power of direct control. It's the best of both worlds.
So yeah, this all sounds pretty incredible, but where does Opal actually fit into the real world? It's time for a little reality check. Let's look at its limits and see how it stacks up against the competition.
Okay, the number one thing you have to remember is this. Opal is a Google Labs experiment. It is not a polished, finished product. That means there are no promises it'll be around forever, no big company support, and yeah, you should probably expect a few bugs. It's a playground, not a factory. And because it's an experiment, that comes with some real limitations. There are no service guarantees, what they call SLAs. Its ability to connect to other apps and databases is still pretty limited right now. So this is definitely not the tool you'd use for a huge, mission-critical app for your company. Oh, and for now, it's only available if you're in the US. To really get where Opal sits, it helps to see it next to the other players. You've got Opal, which is AI-first, perfect for non-technical folks who just want to quickly prototype an idea. Then you have Google's other tool, AppSheet, which is data-first, made for building business apps. Microsoft Power Apps is for big, mission-critical enterprise stuff. And then you have tools like NN or Zapier, which are all about integration. They're for more technical users who want to automate things behind the scenes. They all do very different jobs.
You know, there's a fantastic analogy for this. Think of Opal as the intuitive, self-driving car. You just tell it where you want to go, and it figures out how to get you there. Zapier, on the other hand, is like a high-performance manual race car. It's incredibly powerful, and you can customize everything, but you really need to know how to drive it.
Okay, so for this last part, let's zoom all the way out. What does a tool like Opal really mean for the future? What is it telling us about where all of this technology is going?
Well, we can make some pretty good guesses about Opal's own future. It'll probably expand to more countries, it'll almost certainly get tighter integrations of Google Sheets, Docs, and the whole suite, and eventually it'll likely have some kind of pay-as-you-go pricing.
But honestly, the biggest, most mind-blowing idea here is this. Opal might be way more than just another app builder. It could actually be a massive public experiment for the future of how we talk to all of Google's products. This vibe coding idea could be how we use Google Search, how we use Android, how we use everything. And that leaves us with one final, huge question to think about. Are we looking at the future of how we interact with all of our technology? Is building things, and maybe doing pretty much everything else, really just going to be as simple as having a conversation? It's a pretty wild thought.